What is going on out there, peeps? All right, let's get back into some concerns I have about keeping your money in a bank. Okay, and just stupid little things that I'm seeing out there that should be disturbing to you. And also explain a little bit about what a bail-in is, because a lot of people are saying, Pimpy, I heard you talk about bail-ins. What is that? Okay, so we're going to touch on that in just a second here. I want to remind everybody, if you do want to protect your money from a bail-in or inflation or a market crash, you should be invested into precious metals. And if you're considering buying precious metals, give a consideration to our friends over at Money Metals Exchange. The link is down below in the description. If you are a first-time buyer and you spend more than $100 in Puerto Rico or the United States, use promo code Pimpy, P-I-M-P-Y, and get a free ½ ounce of silver. Return buyers, if you spend more than $500, you automatically get a ¼ ounce of silver. We'll take it. You guys know I got Pimpy's Investment Chat. It's the same name as the YouTube channel. Come on over here and join us. It's free to do so. We talk about gold, silver, cryptocurrencies, as well as foreign currency investments. If you got any questions, post them here in the group. If I don't get back to them, I know there are several other people in here that are knowledgeable enough to answer your questions. All right? So over here on this channel here, which is the other channel I have called The Hidden Things in Front of Your Eyes, there is a video called Learning from What Happened in Cyprus and Why You Should Buy Gold and Silver. So it talks about a bail-in. It actually shows you what happened in Cyprus. So I think it's important, if you are investing into precious metals or considering it, and you might be maybe teetering on whether or not to transfer over your 401ks or your IRAs, or at least part of it, just to protect yourself, I highly, highly recommend you come watch this video, okay? And you can see what it is that they did to these poor people in Cyprus. Cyprus was the testing ground for the bail-in. This happened, I believe, in 2013. So go check it out, because the BIS has now made that a part of every law in every country, that banks can do a bail-in. We'll get a little bit more into that here in just a moment. Here's another thing that disgusts me. So Florida banks, there's 3 of them now, say it has closed Trump's accounts. Not just because it's Trump's, don't get me wrong, I'm a Trump supporter. But the fact that banks just arbitrarily jumped aboard this whole insurrection crap and was able to kick a former president out of his bank accounts. The point being, this is one of the reasons why I don't trust banks. This kind of stunt, this kind of stuff like this. So what happens if next they go around figuring out and they're able to identify who Trump supporters are? Are all the banks going to start kicking you out of your bank account? I'm saying we should name these banks. Go ahead and take your money out of them if you do have them. This is ridiculous. But again, these are the types of stunts that banks pull, and why you should be aware of them, because it could happen to you. If they could do this to the former president of the United States, they can do this to you. So how protected is you and your money? So if they kick you out of all your bank accounts, what are you going to do with your money? What happens if they tell you that no bank in the United States will open for any former Trump supporters? Now, that's exaggerating. It's being hyperbolic. I get it. But I'm just saying, don't think it's that far-fetched. We've seen cancer culture at its best, and it's still going today. What are you going to be able to do with your money? Sit around with a cashier's check? No. That's why you shouldn't be holding your money in a bank account anyways. One of the reasons anyways. Protect yourself from a bail-in, but also protect yourself against stupidity. Cancer culture, or cancel culture. A Florida bank announced Thursday that it has closed down former President Trump's accounts, joining a growing list of entities that have cut ties with the former president following the deadly January Capitol riots. It's all bullshit. It was a stunt. We all know this. This isn't just about these banks. Just so you know, these banks actually have strong ties to China. Yeah, CCP is that embedded into our country that they plan on making Trump's life a living hell. God only knows what's going to happen once Trump gets back in there for his second term. China is going to be hating life. And we're going to see huge, sweeping legislative changing. Because by then, the GOP should have control of the House and the Senate by a large margin. In his financial disclosure, Trump had stated that he had 2 money market accounts with Bank United, the Washington Post reported. The accounts held somewhere near $5.1 million and $25.2 million. So Bank United, anybody banking with them, it's time to pull your money out. Don't put up with this. When they start doing crap like this, just as childish and as bullshit. It says we no longer have any depository relations with him, said the Bank United, without giving reasons for its decision to shutter the accounts. So here's my thing. It says without giving any reasons, but up above, they say it's because of the January 6th Capitol riot. See how they do that? Word magic. Yeah. So they didn't even explain why they closed it. They just assumed it had something to do with the January 6th event. Another Florida bank, Professional Bank, last week announced that it would be cutting ties with Trump, saying it would no longer conduct business with the former president and his organization. So you people in Florida, Bank United, Florida Bank, Signature Bank in New York, Deutsche Bank, are you really going to tolerate this type of behavior from banks like this? This is just ridiculous. But more to the issue is this. Banks pull these types of stunts. What if they pull it on you? I know it might seem far-fetched, but a bail-in is realistic compared to them just kicking you out because they found out you're a Trump supporter. I'm just saying that things could get that ridiculous. We are in a culture war. Excuse the noise in the background. That is the people remodeling the other room. So we're going to go ahead and we're talking about the 6 banks which may bail you in. SD Bullion's got this covered. This is from 2019. It says the world's largest nations and unions often referred to as the G20 in the late 2014 signed a supra national banking law requiring that the next GSIB or global systematically imported banks to fail will be met with bank bail-ins. Not 2008 bail-outs, but bail-ins. Notice we're one of these countries. You can see this. It's a Bank of International Settlement. They are the central bank of central banks. So they had a board annually published a list of global systematically imported banks. Basically, they passed this law and made it that all banks must do this. A bail-in. So on September 16, 2019, the largest bank in the United States, J.P. Morgan Chase, had its precious metals desk charged by the United States Department of Justice as a criminal enterprise for approximately 8 years of rigging the price of gold, silver, and other precious metals. They haven't stopped. The head of the desk, now 6 other precious metals traders from J.P. Morgan, have been charged with various financial market crimes under the RICO status. And just so you know, they found a way to delay before being charged. Let's see if these people actually do any jail time. I told you they're all part of the same corrupt crime family with the politicians.
Yesterday I was telling you about bail-ins. It's where big banks take your money out of your checking account in order to bail themselves out because the government isn't going to anymore. And I said, this is the law in Europe starting January 1st. Well, it turns out it's been a law in the United States since 2014.
Yes.
In the European Union, the way bail-ins work is that if you have over 100,000 euros deposited in the bank can simply go in and take your money and say, we're going to apply this to our debts.
Do you hear that? That's what a bail-in is. In Cyprus, that's why I encourage you to go. check out that Lessons from Cyprus. There's a woman that had $6 million in there. They took it all, but they gave back the insured amount, which over there was only $150,000, and then charged the people 6% taxes on the money.
Here in the United States, if you deposit money with a bank, the bank actually technically owes you that money. You have given your money to the bank, and essentially they have given you an IOU, which is your bank statement. Now, if the bank becomes insolvent, that bank owes a whole bunch of people different people money. And with the big 5 or 6 banks, with the really large banks, they owe trillions of dollars. Trillion is 1,000 billion. Trillions of dollars. Or they could owe trillions of dollars on the derivatives that they're sitting on. And so if those go south, those people get paid back before you and I do. Quoting this former hedge fund manager, Shah Jalani, he says, your deposited cash is an unsecured debt obligation of your bank. It owes you that money back. If you bank with one of the country's biggest banks who collectively have trillions of dollars of derivatives they hold off balance sheet, meaning those debts aren't recorded on the bank's GAAP balance sheets, those debt bets have a superior legal standing to your deposits and get paid back before you get any of your cash. Big banks got that language inserted into the 2010 big Dodd-Frank law meant to rein in dangerous bank behavior.
See, I told you, when they passed Dodd-Frank, they made it sound like, well, they're there to protect you. This is good for the consumer. No, they always do that. They lie to you. So what they told you was, well, the Dodd-Frank would pass, protecting taxpayers from having to bail out banks. But what they didn't tell you is they just switched it around and allow bail-ins, which means people who hold money in those banks, by law, their money can be taken and used to settle issues that the bank has to try to keep them afloat. Now this guy's talking about the FDIC, your money's insured. No, listen what he says, and I warned you guys about this in the past. You're going, well, at least some of my money is insured up to $250,000. By the way, they switched it down to $200,000. But no, it's not. You won't have any money. There's not enough money in the FDIC kiddie pool, because the first thing they got to do is cover derivatives that the bank has. Yeah, they love that fancy wording that they put in this law. Most people don't read them or understand them. We just trust that our little politicians are out there doing what's right for us. They're not. They screwed us a different way. So even if there is FDIC, you won't get the money. If a bail-in happens, you lose everything.
And then Ellen Brown writes, Dodd-Frank states in its preamble that it will protect the American taxpayer by ending bailouts. But it does this under Title II by imposing the losses of insolvent financial companies on their common and preferred stockholders, debt holders, and other unsecured creditors. That includes depositors, the largest class of unsecured creditor of any bank. So what they can do, apparently, if I'm reading this right, is that the bank can convert your deposit, which is now an IOU, into stock in the bank, basically. So instead of being a deposit holder, you become a stockholder.
Yep.
And then, when the stock of the bank crashes, you take the bath too, I guess.
No, it's not a guess. That's what happens. He's right. So did you hear what he said? In case you guys don't know this, because nobody ever reads the fine print. When you open up a banking account of any kind, the money is not yours. You agree that once you make the deposit into the bank now controls and owns your money. Yes, it's not yours. You can withdraw it, and the bank is obligated to you when you want. But if something should happen, like a crisis, by law. Yeah, you love this? 2008. No more bailouts. I like how they come out, Dodd-Frank. Well, we're here to protect American citizens and taxpayers from ever having to bail out these big banks again. So we're going to create a new law. They don't tell you the truth about it. What's the new law do? Well, sure, taxpayers don't have to pay for it, but all the people who deposit money into these banks, they pay for it. They convert your money into shares and you become a shareholder in the bank. And if the bank crashes, guess what? You lose all your money. So this comes from SD Bullion. It goes on to explaining it. And again, this is one of my favorite channels to watch. This is really good. Let's listen just a little further.
That is merited for those listeners out there who are watching. Most people are too busy with their day-to-day lives to know about the current G20 bank bail-in law of our land. These supranational financial laws have been on the books for now roughly 5 years of time. Under them, mega bank derivative bet winners, also known as first-in-line secured creditors, they stand to first inherit the assets of any large potentially failed derivative betting mega bank. According to bank bail-in laws, to the winning derivative bet first go the spoils and leftovers. Those who had unsecured deposits with a potentially failed global systematically important bank, or GSIB, well, good luck. Let's have a look at the FDIC's latest updates to garner a better understanding of what is happening there and whether or not your deposits would be insured if your mega bank failed. In the USA, like virtually all national bank deposit insurance schemes, we too are running a confidence game against potential future bank runs. Current FDIC bank deposit insurance promises up to $250,000 per depositor per FDIC insured bank per ownership category. For viewer convenience, here is a basic category-by-category overview of FDIC deposit insurance coverage from their website. In terms of the FDIC's latest balance sheet through the middle of this year, 2019, they have just over $100 billion saved to insure about $7.5 trillion, leaving just over $5 trillion of U.S. domestic deposits, which are likely over the $250,000 threshold uninsured. It is unlikely that your local bank or savings thrift is the big national issue here. It's more about the derivative betting mega banks and the growing illusion of competition within our crony capitalistic banking system that deserves a further flush out here. Since just before the 42nd U.S. President Bill Clinton repealed the Glass-Steagall Act, the United States then had over 10,000 FDIC insured deposit banks and financial institutions in the late 1990s. Today, that number has just halved to around 5,000 FDIC banks. U.S. Congress Committee on Financial Services noted in a memorandum late last month that from 2006 through the end of 2017, over 3,800 bank merger applications were submitted to the private Federal Reserve. Not even one of these, thousands of bank merger applications, was rejected by the Federal Reserve over an 11-year time frame, which included the global financial crisis that peaked with the failures of Bear Stearns and Lehman Brothers. Currently today, just 6 Wall Street megabanks, JP Morgan Chase, Bank of America, Citigroup, Wells Fargo, Goldman Sachs, and Morgan Stanley. They collectively hold approximately 48% of U.S. bank assets and deposits.
That means 48% of Americans, or 48% of your assets, would be subject to a bail-in. If you're a part of any of these major banks, you lose it all. Some people keep saying, hey, are we protected if we're a credit union? We used to think that. And there is something in here that says if your bank holds less than, I think it is $8 billion in assets, you're protected as well. That's not the case. Some new changes took place, and I think now even they are subject to possible bail-ins. Either way, the point is you should be, yes, prepared just in case. Protect your wealth. Protect your savings. The couple that I was talking about, I almost have them talked into talking about what happened in 2008. They're embarrassed. I get it. But I think their story is important. They could tell you how in 2008's crash and they had their 401ks and IRAs wiped out after 40 years of busting their ass. I keep recommending that people move 25 to 30% of your savings into precious metals just so you're protected. If nothing else happens, then fine. You still have your IRAs, your 401ks. You'll get your payments off them. The gold, silver's still there at any time, so you can cash them in and get money from them. But if a crash like 2008 happens and they wipe out everybody's savings again, are you protected? I keep sending people over to Money Metals Exchange. They can help you. Just tell them Pimpy sent you. That's all you got to do. They've helped out tons of my subscribers transfer part of or all of their savings just to be on the safe side. I mean, there's a lot of shiesty shenanigans going on with our government right now, with the banks, with stock market, Main Street, you name it, the media. And you guys trust any of these people with your money? I don't. Nonetheless, I just wanted to share this with you as why, just more of a reason why you should protect yourself by moving into precious metals. Okay, again, I want to encourage everybody, so just don't take my word for it. Just come over and listen to what happened to the people over in Cyprus. All right? Listen to what happened to them, and you'll see what I'm talking about. It's sickening. And that place was a test run for the rest of the world. Talk to our friends at Money Metals Exchange. 1-800-800-1865. Ask them to help you if you're considering transferring part of or all of your 401k or IRA accounts. That's just my opinion. That's it for now. Hit the thumbs up button. If you're not a subscriber, please do so, because when you do, helps out the channel, and I surely do appreciate it. And I'll catch you later.